Hi guys, this is Coach Powell. We are live and got a little bit of a cleaning up to do before we get started. But I promised those of you all who came on early, I was going to give you tons of bonus gifts and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to prepare to do that. While I am doing that, let's just make sure that all of our systems are working and all of the chat boxes are functioning. And so I'm going to upload my first bonus gift, which is going to literally be an invitation of where you can join me on LinkedIn. A lot of my colleagues and friends, communicate through LinkedIn. I make connections with other people through LinkedIn, and I connect other people with LinkedIn. So my first offer for all of you all who are on the call today, especially you early birds, is to go ahead and join me on LinkedIn. If you haven't already, the link is going to be coming and it's going to be posted in the chat for all to see right now. And so if you're following me on Facebook or if you're following me on YouTube, you should be able to see a link to my LinkedIn network. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about the value of this particular link. When you link to my network, first of all, I'm very careful about who I connect to. I don't connect to people who are going to be pariahs to other people. But I do connect to people who I like to engage with, people who like to engage with me. And so every once in a while, what I try to do is I will go through the LinkedIn network and I will select my LinkedIn networker of the week. Sometimes I do two in a week. It just depends on how active I feel. And I'll just make a big deal out of them. I'll make sure I promote them amongst the target market that I think that they really, really, really want to be promoted in. That's one of the values of having some sort of the higher connections on LinkedIn and being able to use the tool exceptionally well. I have connected to people to thousands and thousands of dollars, opportunities that they could never get by themselves, just because I chose them to be my networker of the week, and we're able to publicize them amongst people that we both maybe connect to, or maybe even the target market that they're looking for. And so this is a great opportunity. If you haven't already, go ahead and join me on LinkedIn. That's a early bonus gift for those of you who are on the call right now. And for those of you all who are looking for a little something extra, I got something super special for you. As you know, we're about to enter a new series, which I'll introduce that a little later. But I'm a trainer. I love training people. I love teaching people. I love developing people. More than likely, I have produced some content of some type that will help you develop anything you want to develop in your small business, no matter what that is. And it just so happens that one of the earliest programs that I created was the 9 Steps to Mastery. And the 9 Steps to Mastery is really all about teaching people how the steps they need to follow to become perfect networkers. Now, obviously, you're not going to become perfect. In fact, I'm doing a new training program on perfection right now. You don't really want to become perfect, right? But really, the 9 steps is everything you need to do to approach perfection in your networking strategy and your networking process. The reason why that's important is because, well, there's 2 reasons. One, we've already discovered this social intelligence and emotional intelligence, and the new neuroscience of everything is starting to discover how valuable connections and relationships are to people, and learning how to use those connections and those relationships really, really well is key to all of our success. In fact, if you see on the program that I'm about to send you, it really starts off with an understanding of what the steps are. What are the 9 steps that everyone should be taking from step 1 through 9? And literally, it's a ladder. So if you think about it, that as you go up this ladder, you're getting closer and closer to higher levels of trust. When you can get to the highest levels of trust with people, now you have what's required and what you need to leverage anything they have to offer you. But until you get to that point where you can leverage things, if you try to leverage a relationship prior to, then you're going to be accused of basically doing some things that people don't want you to do, and because they're not ready for it, or it's not a right opportunity for them, or whatever it is. And you want to make sure that the people that you decide that you want to keep with you, people that you decide that you want to be a part of your network, you're working with them correctly. You're working with them in a way that's going to benefit both of you in a great way. And so I want to make sure that everybody gets this. So if you logged on early, here it is. That is the document. That is the 9 steps to masterful networking. It will teach you everything you need to know to become great at this. Now, people pay me thousands of dollars at conferences all over the country to deliver this program. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, organizations, they do that because it's important to them. It's important to them, especially for their business development people, to know how to relate to others, how to create relationships that can be used correctly, the relationships that can be leveraged correctly. And so if you are paying attention and you're here, I want you to go ahead and download that document. Join me on LinkedIn and download the 9 steps to powerful networking. So that will help you develop the tools you need to have. And I'm going to make one more offer to you all, those of you logged on, and it's 4 of you, right? Because you came in early, and I really appreciate that. If you'd like to, I will spend a personal hour with you, and I will work with you to develop your networking strategy, to talk to you about what you're doing. In fact, I will give you my 10 steps to networking assessment tool, which you'll then be able to use to do whatever you want to do. So if you want that 10 steps to networking assessment tool, here's what I need you to do. I need you to get my phone number, and it's scrolling through. And it's scrolling through right now, and you'll be able to see that phone number. It's 703-201-4267. That's 703-201-4267. Text me that I want help, and I will call you. I will set up a time to work with you. We'll set aside an hour, maybe half an hour. It doesn't matter. I'm really not going to be chinchy about that because it's only 5 of you right now. If you do that, then I'm going to help you with your networking strategy, help you figure out where to go, where should you be networking, what you should be saying. I'll help you assess, what you're doing well, what you're not doing well. I'll send you the assessment. You go through the assessment, and then we'll talk about your results, and we'll talk about what you need to fix and what you want to fix and how you want to fix it. Fair enough? So that's your early bird bonus. That's for logging on and paying attention and being here with me right up front. The next thing I want you to do, now that you're here, and it is 3 o'clock, it's time to get this ball rolling. What I want everybody on the call to do, if you have a business, or if you have an organization that you want to promote, or if you have something that you want other people to know about, go ahead and put that information in the chat. Put the website, the phone number, the email, whatever you want to put it in the chat. And that way people can see it and connect to you, because you're not going to have a whole bunch of opportunities to interact and to see various things. And I don't want you to feel like you didn't get a chance to communicate and to communicate your value. And plus, it'll give me a chance to see who you are out there and what you're doing. And so if you have a business, or if you have a program, or if you have something that you want people to know about, go ahead and promote it right there in the chat box. It's okay. Nobody's going to beat you up. Nobody's going to, be mad at you or anything like that. In fact, I want you to promote who you are to the best of your ability, and put your best foot forward, because it's a rare opportunity you might get the people to might pay attention to your offering, and you may never know what you may establish from then. So if you want people to contact you, if you want to share something, go ahead and share it in the chat. I really, really appreciate it. I see quite a few of my friends out there. Nancy's out there. Love to see you, Nancy. Thank you so much for joining us. And John Neifel is on board today. This is awesome. Awesome. And I see Jacqueline just connected. That's great. For those of you who are just connected, I just put in the chat a couple of bonus gifts for our early connections and so on and so forth. You can go back and get those. And I did make them an offer that, I'd be willing to do at least an hour personal consultation with them on anything that's going to relate to helping them become better networkers. I don't know if I want to extend that offer right now now I have like 10 people in the room. I don't know if I should extend it. No, I'm going to keep it, because I told you if you get in early, then you get that kind of stuff. But I got tons of other bonus gifts I want to give you guys later on. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. again, if you have, thank you for reminding me, Nancy. If you have a business or if you have an organization that you want to promote or some ideas that you want to promote, go ahead and put that information in the chat. I really appreciate you. I see you, Jasmine. Jasmine is just volunteered to be my chief fun officer for an event that I'm going to tell you all about. And this is going to be amazing because, first of all, Jasmine is a tremendous person and she is a lot of fun. And I think she's going to help me because that's not my gift. I'm a teacher, I'm an introvert, but I'm not a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not creative or in that way. I'm energetic when it comes to people, but I'm not really gifted in that way of finding new ways to communicate and all that kind of stuff. Because everything I do and everything I say is programmed, it's strategic, and trust me, it's well rehearsed before I open my mouth. Because if I don't rehearse it, then I'm flubbing and I'm stubbing, I'm stumbling, and I'm sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about, which I never like that. You know, I don't enjoy that. I'm not that person. I want to be professional, polished, and I want to know what I'm talking about whenever I share anything with anybody. So today's talk, today's Coffee, Tea, You and Me program is the beginning of a whole series of information that I'm going to be putting out there for everyone for the next 5, maybe 6 weeks. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through all of the program, but this is going to be amazing. And let me tell you why. I put this together years ago because I was going to networking meetings. This was maybe 18, 19 years ago. I was going to networking meetings and I was beginning to start a relationship with a group called Business Networking International. Some of you may know them as BNI, and they're a national networking organization. And I was noticing that the people who were members of the organization weren't paying attention to the information that was being delivered by the founder of the organization. They weren't paying attention to the strategy, the process, the program that had been outlined by Dr. Meisner. And I love everything Dr. Meisner wrote at that time. I loved what he was doing. I loved where he was going. And I loved what he was saying when it comes to building relationships and being strategic about relationships and understanding how to create the kinds of relationships that you were going to need. So I began to take a deep dive and not just study what Dr. Meisner said about relationship. I started to put it together with everything I had already learned from some of the greatest gurus out there about how to establish and use professional relationships. And then I started to test this theory out. I started to realize that people are having problems because I started listening to them as they're in these networking meetings and realizing that they, although they're expert, they have expertise and they have talent, they're usually horrible at communicating what they really need so that other people can step up to the plate and do something meaningful, do something relevant that moves the needle for them. And let me give you sort of an example of what I'm saying. Each of us has, whether we fully articulated or thought it through or not, has an idea of where we want to go in the future. You have an idea of who you want to be in the future, what you want to have in the future, what you want to be able to do in the future. These ideas collectively, and it depends on when you want to take, one chip off, when you want to do this one objective, when you want to get to this one thing. Each of these ideas could represent goals, or they could represent just benchmarks that you want to see yourself hit along the way towards whatever ultimate situation you want to find yourself in, right? So some people call these dreams, some people call these visions, some people call these a whole lot of other things. But the reality is there is somebody who's out there who will be excited to know that this is where you're going. This is what you're trying to achieve. This is what you're trying to communicate. This is what you're trying to be, do, or have. Now, in the doing of that, people are going to say, oh, wow, I love what you're doing. I love what you're saying. I love what you're communicating. I want to get involved. I want to help you. I want to be a supporter for you. I want to be a promoter for you. I want to jump on board and go with you while you're going where you're going. I'm going to be with you till you get to like objective number 5, and then I'm going to peer off and go in my own direction. But right now we can roll together and we can do what we need to do together, and we can be a partners and we can collaborate, right? Or we can do this in a meaningful way. So I began to develop a system and a strategy to help people begin to collaborate with people so they can move themselves forward, because I recognize that if you can find the right time, talent, and treasure of other people, and I want you to remember that because we're going to come back to that later on. If you can find the right time, talent, and treasure in other people and get them to invest that in you, and you can invest what time, talent, and treasure you have in them, everybody's stronger, everybody's made more durable, everybody's made better because of the mutual exchange of leverage. And I got some ideas about that I want to share with you a little later on, so you got to hang on with me because I got a lot of free gifts and bonuses and all kinds of strategies I want to share with you. But here's what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about how you begin to present yourself in a way that people will jump on board with you, and people will identify with you, connect with you, and begin to assist you in your journey to do whatever I think, or you think, God put you here on this earth to do and accomplish, to be, do, and have, right? Your purpose, your reason is going to be accessible, not just under your own steam, but accessible through the collaboration, the partnership, the communication that you have with others, and your ability to communicate effectively in a presentation, or I hate to use the word elevator pitch because I hate that word. Nobody wants a pitch, but I do know that your personal presentation, your personal introduction, when somebody asks you, what is it that you do? It has to be so full of meaning and power and passion and opportunity that people who hear it go, wow, I want to know more. I'm excited. I'm interested. I want to get on board. I want to help you in some way. Even if that helping is only to take that message that you just delivered and give it to someone who actually needs it or can assist you better, right? Because there's two things you can have that you can do in the world of networking. One is build stronger connections with other people, and two is to get information that you need in order for you to win and be stronger yourself, right? That's only two things that can happen in networking. If you're trying to do networking and do anything other than get meaningful information from other people that you need, or build relationships with other people that you need, you're using the tool incorrectly. You're doing the wrong thing. You're saying the wrong thing. And I saw this happening to people all over the place. I saw this happening everywhere I went. Everybody was trying to sell everybody. Nobody was listening to anybody. Nobody was saying anything of any substance or meaning or consequence. And so therefore, I was bored. Everywhere I went, I was bored. And I was like, you guys are not following the principles. You're not following your strategy. You're not doing anything that makes any sense. And I got to fix it. I'm that kind of guy. If I see something wrong, I want to fix it. So here's what we are today. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've seen wrong in presentations, in personal introductions, so that you know right off the bat, these are the no-nos. These are the things that you should never, ever, ever do when you open up your mouth and introduce yourself or give a presentation of any type. Okay? So there are some key things, and I want to share with you before we get into them all. I want to share with you the document that I created, which is, you can call it a training manual, you can call it a lot of things, but literally it is the 5 elements of perfect presentation. This is another training element or manual that I created years ago, and I tweak everything. I mean, I keep coming back, I keep adding new stuff as I start to understand neuroscience, and I start to understand, I get more quotes from more famous people, and I get more people to read stuff that I'm sharing in content. I go ahead and update it. So listen, I'm going to give this stuff to you, but I don't care what you do with it. If you want to claim it as your own, I don't have a problem. Just forget the copyright stuff. I'm never going to come after you. I'm never going to sue you. I want this out in the world. If you're going to tell your friends about it, or if you're going to give it to somebody else, go ahead. Feel free. You have my permission. You hear me give it to you right now. Do with this information what you want. Do with it what you please. You have full permission to do so. I've given it before, so nobody can ever say, well, Marvin, when people come after you to sue you or whatever, that's not theirs. It's mine, and I'm giving it to you. So you can do what you want to do with it. And this is, let me see if I can't go back here. And here we go. I'm about to give you that, and that's the 5 elements. You're going to see it come up in the chat. You're going to see it come up in your, either whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on YouTube, you're going to see that come up. Now, what I need you to do is go ahead and copy that, download it right now. Because don't wait, because the chat's not going to be available, may not be available to you after this event. I mean, everything's being recorded, and I think sometimes the chat goes away once the event goes live or is then recorded. I'm not sure, but just to protect yourself, go ahead and download that information right now. Go ahead and make sure you put it in there so people know what's going on with you. And again, I see my buddy David's in the house. I see who else is in the house. Do me a favor, before we get started, for those of you who are with us, go ahead and, if you haven't already, put something in the chat. Give us a shout out. Just let us know you're out there. If you're a friend of mine or however, just let me know where you met me from. That's a good one. Where did you meet us, or where did you find out about this event? If you found out about this event on Facebook, or you found out about this event on LinkedIn, or if you found out about this event because you are connected with me somehow, some way, I'd love to know that. So do me a favor, unless you're driving, because I know some of you are out there and you're listening to this on your phone, or you're watching this on your phone while you're driving. And don't do this while you're driving. But if you are, please don't try to chat at the same time. Just keep that going. We don't want you to have an accident or have any problems. But if you have any questions about anything that is going to help you become better at distributing or creating a network for yourself, or creating a brand for yourself when it comes to your communication strategy, definitely hit me up with a question, even in the chat, even during the presentation that I'm going to give you today, because I think that it's important that you keep your brain energized, and during the break I will get around to answering your questions. But the first part today, hey Joe, I see you out there, buddy. Awesome. That's great. What I'm going to get into today, first and foremost, is going to be the no-nos. But I want you, like I said earlier, if you're with me on the 5 elements of super engaging presentation, I want you to go all the way to the last few pages. And what you're going to see on page 11, yes, this is an outline of how you may want to think about delivering a presentation from the beginning to the end, starting with impact, drama, being a hero, the vision of the situation, and finally recognition, right? So if you look at that document and you keep that document in mind, and you start to practice using the pace and the rhythm that I have suggested here in this document, you're going to give winning presentations all the time. This is really a recipe for you to win. Also, I've included a little bit of a workbook. And these are questions that if you begin to answer these questions, if you have problems answering these questions, if you have questions on page 12, there's tons of questions. These questions are there to spark your thinking and to create that intellectual engagement that you need to have. And then on page 13, these are tons of links, things that you could do to help you grow your business, grow your brand, learn more about how you can, what you can use to communicate yourself. There's tons of tools out here. Now, I will promise you some of these links are broken because they've been around for a long time. But most of them work really well. If you find that there's a broken link on here and you'd like to get that information or whatever, feel free to hit me up, text me, email me, call me, whatever, and I will see what I can do to help you. It's very, very important that you put some effort into this, because most of us, when we're doing our personal presentations at networking groups or where we are, we're shooting from the hip. And that's always going to yield some very, very horrible results. In fact, for most of you who are doing that, you become what I call a Farnsworth, right? A Farnsworth is literally somebody who does everything wrong. right? And I'm going to read this bit of a story to you that'll help you understand what I'm talking about. And then you're going to immediately get hit. When you hear this story, you're going to get, your mind is going to actually go to places where you probably have been before. And I want to cause some serious engagement with this, so pay attention to this. This is the Jeff Farnsworth story. Jeff is a networker, and he stands up in a networking event. He says something to this effect. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Superstar Networkers of the World. My name is the Honorable Dr. Jeff Farnsworth Sotheby Franklin Thomas Jr. III, MPA, CPB, MPB, MBA, LUTCF, Esquire Emeritus. I've been in business now for well over 2,341 years because of my super advanced knowledge of cybernetic, halogenic, solution-based, value-added prosthetic derivatives. I am able to generate thou service recognition delivery systems for thousands of regulatory filaments over stereophonic, circuit bent, antioxidant bioessentials. Rest assured, you can call me when your black box cylindrical cooling heat starter just simply won't work. Allow your granular brushes to bronze correctly with their essential bindings. I'm your guy. Now, I know that was a dramatic, over-the-top representation of what you may be experiencing out there in the networking world. But trust me, at some level, everybody who delivers a personal presentation is a Farnsworth. They're Farnsworth because they do a couple things incorrectly right up front. Let's talk about what Jeff has done wrong here. First of all, Jeff started with his name, his title, the name of his company, and nobody cares. When you want to deliver a presentation to someone, the last thing they need to know is who you are, what you're all about, what's your company name. Because if you deliver that information up front, you are literally hijacking your own presentation by making them think about something that has nothing to do substantively with what it is you're trying to communicate. Your name, the name of your company, your title, your description of what you do is nothing that anyone needs to know right now. Initially, they don't need to know that. And so I'm going to teach you a formula. And the formula is based on a program that I also created called Benefits Selling. And it teaches you how to really start to open the conversation and the pattern or rhythm that you should have in a presentation of any type. You should always start with the benefits, because benefits are compelling. Benefits make people pay attention. The desire to benefit, the desire to help someone else benefit, all that is what's important to hit right up front. The understanding that there may be a benefit is important to hit right up front. So the language I want you to think about, and I want you to repeat to yourself: benefits compel, stories sell, facts tell. Every presentation you need needs to work in that rhythmic session. No matter how you do, whether you're doing a 20-minute presentation or a 15-minute presentation, benefits compel, stories sell, facts tell. Now, most people start off that process and they get it all backwards. They start with the facts. I am who I say I am. This is the company I belong to. We've discovered this amazing data, these facts, this information, and and it's crazy good. That's great. I don't care yet. And you've wasted my time. You know, when I start off telling you my name is Marvin Powell, you go, oh, I know a guy named Marvin Powell. Didn't he used to play for the Jets? And by the way, that's not me. I get hit up with his Facebook friends all the time, or people trying to connect with me because there's a guy named Marvin Powell who used to play for the Jets, and his son used to play professional football as well. So I get confused with Marvin Powell Sr. and Marvin Powell Jr. One is 11 years older than me. One is about 11 years younger than me. So it's like, I don't even know how that works. But anyway, their friends want to hit me up all the time. And there are 1,000 Marvin Powells out there. If you Google that name, there's a lot of people named Marvin Powell. I thought it was a hot, unique, sexy name. It's really not. In any case, starting with your name, it's going to make people hijack it. It's going to make people think emotionally, Nancy. I know somebody named Nancy. And I wonder if you're related to, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Just because somebody's first name is Nancy doesn't mean that they're related to somebody else that you know named Nancy. But that's where your brain goes, because your brain makes connections based on what it previously understood. So you start off with your name, and people are going to go, Wilhelm. That sounds German. I wonder if he knows my friend Franklin Wilhelm, or whatever that is. And next thing you know, you're going down a rabbit hole and you're not paying attention to the person who's speaking. So don't do that to yourself. Don't start off with, I love this one. And I'm a financial advisor. Really? How many financial advisors are there out there? And how many of them do the same thing that you do? They don't. But here's what happens. When you start off with your title, whatever your title is, people go, I think I know what that is. And they've already stereotyped you. They've already put you in a box that is surely not of your own making. And if I want you to stereotype me, I want you to stereotype me in a way that I've designed the stereotype to work. So at least when you're profiling me correctly, right? If you say, if I say that I'm a coach, then you got 1,000 things you're thinking about, right? What kind of coach? Is he a life coach? Is he a business coach? Is he more of a therapist or a consultant? What does that work? What does that mean? And if I burden you with that information right up front, then I run the risk that you're not going to pay attention to me later on as I communicate. So up front, never, ever, ever, ever use your title, your name. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about it. Just don't do it. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's going to make people uncomfortable. Yes, it is going to make people uncomfortable, but they're going to pay attention. That's what you want. You want their attention right up front. The other way, like I said earlier, is to start talking about benefits right off the bat. What are the benefits? When you think about it, when somebody asks you what you do, they're not asking your name, they're not asking you your title, they're not asking you the name of your company. They're asking you, why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? Or anybody else, really? Why should I spend the next few seconds of my life paying attention to what you have to say? And you gotta hit them right off the bat with something emotional, something powerful, something that's going to be beneficial. Or you even hint that there's a benefit coming. It's the same, right? So you could do one or two things. One, you can say, people, entrepreneurs, business leaders depend on me to make sure they're in the most powerful positions they could ever be in at any given time in their business. Because of me, they're able to be more productive, they're able to focus better, and they're able to literally have more energy. That's a benefit statement. People go, wow, how do you do that? Now, you may ask, either before or after your benefit statement, do you have a couple seconds? If they ask you, what do? You may say, give me a couple seconds. And if you got a couple seconds, I'll be able to explain it to you. Fair enough? And they'll usually comply. Like, I'll give you a couple seconds. They're expecting you to take 15 minutes. You're not going to take 15 minutes. You're really going to take a few seconds, maybe 60 seconds, quite frankly. And you can do this in 60 seconds. But if you don't hit them with a benefit right off the bat, then what are you going to be left with? You're going to be left with facts. And those facts either are germane, or they care about them or not, or you're going to start rambling off a laundry list of things and ideas and concepts that is too much for anybody to grab emotionally or mentally at one point in time. So you're going to lose them in the laundry list. I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that and I offer this to this people and this to that people and this to that people. Next thing you know, you're talking about anybody, everybody, and nobody wants to be anybody, everybody. Everybody wants to be somebody specific, somebody meaningful. And so if you start talking to people like they're anybody, everybody, or you're looking for anybody, everybody, they're not looking for them because I'm somebody. So you don't want to do that. You want to be specific. You want to make sure that you are not using industry jargon, right? Another no-no, industry jargon or familiar vernacular That's stuff that's really, really difficult, because you can offend people and not know you're offending people. You know, my good buddy Joe, who's on the call, is a guru in technical sales. And I'm sure if Joe wants to talk to you about technology, he could blow you away with the jargon he knows. And it might sound to Joe exciting and interesting and so on and so forth. But for the rest of us, here's what happens. You hit me with the jargon, and you're in your flow. You're enjoying your life. You're doing what you do. You've gone on for 5 minutes about stuff that you know about that no one else knows about. And I'm thinking, wow, you're really smart. And I don't want to talk to you ever again, because I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated, and I'm a little afraid. I'm certainly not going to work with you, because I got to go look up everything you just told me in order to even understand what we're talking about here. And not only am I intimidated, I'm less likely to trust you with a friend of mine or an associate of mine, because you're probably going to do the same thing when you talk to them. So you've shown up as a person who's intelligent, but not useful. And that's not what you want. You want people to remember what you have to say and be passionate about sharing whatever it is you have to say to someone else. You want your message to go viral. You want them to hear it and go, you know what? I know exactly the person who needs to hear that message. All right. Now, once you've established the no-nos, things you should never do, you're left with a whole bunch of good stuff. So here, let me sort of repeat some of the no-nos to you right off the bat. No-no number one: don't lead with your name, your title, or the name of your company. No-no number two: do not use industry jargon ever when you're talking to people. I don't care if you're talking to people in the same industry, because you're making assumptions that they know what you're talking about. No-no number three: this is the hard one. You must tell a story. If you do not tell a wonderful story, whenever you're speaking to people, whenever you're talking to people, you're not going to be influential. You're not going to be memorable. You're not going to build connective tissue with these people. You're not going to get your message to go viral, because the message is going to be complicated. It's going to be impossible for someone else to deliver. It's going to be laden with a whole bunch of stuff. Never. You must tell a story. So that's another no-no. That's actually not a no-no. It's a double negative, right? You must tell a story. The last rule I want to share with you, and this is very, very powerful, right? Benefits. You've got to stick to the benefits and make sure people realize that the benefits are going to be there. Okay. So now we're ready to talk about the 5 elements of a perfect presentation. And we're going to go through element number 1 today, which is impact. I started to lead you into that. If you go into the document that I just gave you, it's in the chat. If you're just arriving, it's in the chat. Impact is a very, very important thing to do and to be meaningfully right up front of every presentation. If people aren't blown away with your first couple of statements, you got that long to get their interest, to attract them, to get their attention. And it's very, very difficult to do. Let me explain. If you're in an environment where there's going to be multiple presentations given or multiple introductions given, everybody in the room is thinking about their introduction. They're thinking about what they want to say. And when you're talking, they're thinking about, oh, that's good. I want to use that. Or, when they finish talking, they're thinking, oh my God, I should have said that, or I should have done that. And they're not likely to be listening to you. And so you want to kill every opportunity that exists for a person to tune you out and not listen to you. Starting with impact right up front. There's a couple different ways you want to get to impact. in a couple ways, different ways, you do not want to get to impact. You do not want to use gimmicks to create impact. And what do I mean by gimmick? No dance moves, no standing on chairs, no death by PowerPoint, nothing that is going to be a distraction from your message. Those things they have impact, but they're negative impacts. Because everybody's going to want to know, well, why are you standing on the chair? Or why did you just burst out into song? Or why are you doing a crazy dance move? It doesn't seem appropriate for this particular moment, this particular event. What are you up to? People are going to think that instead of, because you're going to have their attention, but it's going to be a negative attention. You don't want a negative attention. You want a powerful attention right up front. So 2 things I suggest in terms of getting your impact. First thing is ask an open-ended question. An open-ended question that hints of a benefit to come. So I may go, would you like to hear about how I help entrepreneurs create more power, more energy, more focus, more productivity? Would you like to hear that? It's an open-ended question. It's not really meant to be answered. Or, I'm surprised. I created one of the most powerful systems in the world to help entrepreneurs and business leaders really, really create tons of energy, focus, and performance. Would you like to hear about it? These are questions, open-ended questions, statements that hint to a benefit yet to come. These things are setting you up for the next thing. I suggest you try to figure out how to do that right up front. The next thing you want to do is you want to start telling a story. Your benefits lead you right into story. Story, character development is the most meaningful impact you ever can have. Because inside of character development is connection to the character that you're building in the story. So you want to be able to tell stories about a character that has experienced your product or your service. Now, here's where it gets wonky, especially with new people who don't have a lot of experience doing whatever they're doing. And they go, oh, wait a minute. I can't tell a lie. I got to tell us. If I haven't worked with anybody, I don't know that it works yet. I'm not suggesting that you lie. But I am suggesting that you do your research and you do your homework. Because if you're trying to hawk a product or service that you don't even know is worthy or useful or meaningful, something's wrong with you and your character. And you got to think about that. Somebody knows that this product works. Somebody knows that this service works. You should be interviewing those people. You should have 10 or 20 of them at the ready and make them tell you the stories of their success in the product or service. And then you borrow the story. It doesn't have to be your story. That is I think the biggest mistake people make when it comes to doing presentations and networking. They think that the story has to be their story, has to be their ownership of the story itself. No, you don't. You are the person relaying the story. You are the person sharing the benefits. And that makes you magical, not the person who necessarily delivered the benefits or delivers the benefits. None of that matters. The fact that you are sharing the story is what hits the neural syntax, the neural parts of the brain that makes it function and secrete all the things it needs to secrete to create memory and repetition and all that things. Think about it. Human beings told stories to one another before we could write, before we could then copy and duplicate what we wrote. We transferred information to one another, valuable, meaningful, tangible information to each other for thousands and thousands of years by telling stories. There's a rhythm and there's a pattern to how our brains want to receive information and how it stores information and how it retrieves information so that it can be shared with other people. If you get this wrong, you're going to screw it up. You're going to mess it up. So let's start with character development. Character development is critical to creating impact. Why do I say that? When you can develop a great character, people connect to the character and they feel what the character feels later on in the story. But if you tell a story about a character that people can't connect to, then when the drama happens to the character, and it needs to be some drama that happens to the character, people won't feel emotional. They won't feel emotionally connected to the character, so they won't feel the drama, right? And here's the beautiful thing about human nature. The higher levels of emotional intelligence we have, the easier it is for us to connect to stories of human beings of any type, anywhere, at any time. Because our level of emotional intelligence and our level of engagement is so high, the empathy we can have for just hearing the right story. It doesn't matter who tells the story. The story itself is going to generate the empathy needed to help us make the decision or to remember the story or to do whatever needs to come next. So you must do great character development. Now, how do you do great character development? We need demographic information, data. We need to know about a person. We need to know who they are, where they live, what color car they drive, how many kids they have. We need to know, do they have a boat? Do they play tennis? We need to know at least, I'm going to say 3 to 5 data points about the person that you're bringing in the story. This is going to require some exercise and some training, because I want you to think about the perfect client and the perfect client scenario. This is not somebody who wants something. This is somebody who is. A demographic description is a statement of being. It's a statement of fact. This person is 32 years old. This person does have 3 children. This person does drive a Gremlin. This person does, whatever it is that person is or does is easy to see. Demographic. I can see it. I can identify it. Now, here's why that's important. Because there's a reason why when you get, I don't know if anybody has gotten an Amber Alert on their phone recently, but when you get an Amber Alert on your phone and they're looking for a person, they're going to give you demographic information that describes that person. They call it profiling, not in a negative sense, but in a way to identify a person. They're going to tell you this person is 160 pounds. This person is blonde, blue eyes, 6'2", and weighs X, Y, and is either Caucasian, African American, was wearing a pink top or yellow top or hoodie or whatever they were wearing, was driving a white sedan, approximately 1987 Honda Civic Accord, whatever. They're going to give you demographic information because if you see it, you're going to go, ha, that's the person that the cops are looking for. I want you to think that exact same way when you give the demographic description of the character that you're about to talk about in your story. And you must do this up front. You can't pull a Quentin Tarantino on me and do the demographics later, do the character development later after the story's already unfolded. Because Quentin is famous for taking the dramatic impact of a story, putting that right up front so he can get you all shocked and scared, and then later on he builds the character around it. That works really well in the movies. Don't try it in a personal presentation because it's really, really going to be difficult. Benefits are enough. Benefits are enough of a teaser to keep them interested and get them in the story. You're not going to be there long, so you got to hit them real fast. And you don't want to make it confusing for them if you start with the drama or the result at the end and then build it backwards or chop it up and put it in a wrong order. That's going to cause dissonance. That's the word that we use in music. So jazz is based on dissonance. It's not necessarily harmony. It's a disharmony that works well together just because it's so different, but it works in the rhythmic balance of it. I don't want to get into a music and harmonics lesson. You know, Scott and I could talk about that all day long. So what's important, though, is to know that when you're talking about character development, you want it to be easy for a person's mind to open up, and you want them to think about somebody that they know that may be just like the character that you're describing in the story. And you want to make sure that they're thinking about somebody other than themselves. Now, selfless people are going to think about themselves anyway and think you're trying to sell them. You can't stop that. You can't make that not happen. People are going to, you're talking, so you must be trying to sell me. That's what they're thinking. But that doesn't have to be the truth. And so you dispel that myth by doing an excellent job at your presentation. So you want to give a demographic description right up front. And you want to be very, very good at how you deliver that demographic description. Because if you're not, people are not thinking about somebody that they know. And when people are thinking about somebody that they know, you want them, when you give the story, when you give the character development part of the impact of that, you want them to be able to say, I know somebody just like that. So for me, I may be talking about dentist. I work with Jonathan. Jonathan's 46 years old. He's been involved with the dental industry and has his own private practice for the last 20 years. He's an amazing dentist. He specializes in making sure that he is organic in his approach. So he's not the guy you go to fill and drill and to replace. He's the guy you go to when you want to save your teeth, when you want to reverse some of the damage that has been done, and you want to make sure that you're eating correctly, and you make sure that you're flossing correctly, and you know how to use that. He's going to give you the best benefits that he can give you based on holistic and organic type of dentistry. I love Jonathan because he works right here in Fairfax. He's just a great guy, and that's where he is. Now, that character development, that character description may make you think of your dentist. Even if your dentist isn't a holistic dentist, even if your dentist isn't 46 years old or works in Fairfax or is a naturalistic, naturopathic kind of dentist, that doesn't matter. You're thinking about your dentist or a dentist that you know or several dentists that you know. And that's what I want you to think about, because I've just basically programmed your mind, hijacked your thoughts about something other than yourself, and you're thinking about somebody else. But if I rush through that demographic description, I don't really tell you, I'm working with, I'm mentioning by name Jonathan, the dentist, 46, works in Fairfax, naturopathic, homeopathic dentist. I'm not giving you enough information to connect to the character or connect the character with someone that you may know, which I'm going to need later on as I go through the story. So you want me emotionally connected to the character. And the only way to get me emotionally connected to the character is to make me think of somebody that I know or think of somebody that could be suffering what's going to come next, which is the drama. Now, next week, we're going to take a deep dive into the drama. How do you create stories that have drama after you've done the benefit, the character development, which is all impact, right? And now you want to create the drama. Right? The drama is critically important to the 5 elements of perfect presentation. Because now you got their attention, you got them thinking about somebody that you want them to think about, and everything else is gone. They're not thinking about anything else. They're not thinking about their presentation. They're not thinking about somebody else. You've got them right in the palm of your hands, right? The next thing you want to do is you want to hit them with some drama. Drama helps set the emotional dissonance. It helps set the emotional chord that you want to set with them, so they can be, they can do this correctly. They can feel what you need that they need to feel, and you want to. The drama has to be so. Well, we'll get into it later on. But the next element of the 5 elements is drama. And then after that, you want to have heroism show up, because now that you've sunk them down into the drama, somebody's got to come and save the day, right? The hero has to come in and save the day. We're going to get into that week after next. And then the vision of what you want people to do with this story. Now that they've seen it, right? Now that they've understood it, who needs to hear it? Who needs to see it? Who needs to know? Who needs to know about it? You want to make sure they have a vision of what can be done with this story. They've had the impact, they've had the drama, they've had the hero show up and save the day. Who do they need to tell the story to? Maybe it's somebody, the dentist that they know, or some other professional. It doesn't really matter, but you need to have that vision. You need to share with them that vision. You need to do that in a magical way. The last thing you want to do with your presentation is recognition. Recognition of who you are as the storyteller. Recognition of, your company, what you stand for, what it is that you bring to the table that's significant that other people, the facts now we're interested in the facts. We're still not going to remember any of that stuff, but you don't want to tell us any of that stuff before you go through the 5 elements of perfect presentation, which are impact, drama, heroism, vision, and then recognition. So I'm going to give you guys a little homework. Before next week, I want you to read the 5 elements of super engaging presentations. And I want you to think through, and I want you to look at the tools and the techniques that we've shared with you today. And I want you to think through, how you could use this to elevate yourself, to leverage what you need to leverage with people that you're working with. And I promise you, you can do this. It's a system, it's a tools. All you got to do is follow the strategy and don't deviate, right? And you practice that technique over and over and over again, and you're going to be magical at whatever presentation you ever give anywhere. Now, I'm not saying Toastmasters can't help you, or other speaker programs can't help you, or speaker training organizations can't help you. They can. Everything you need to learn and leverage is something that you can learn and leverage, and any way that you get to that learning is important. But I am telling you, you can get to this for free. And so use this tool and use it well, and you will find that you're going to get there better. All right. So really quickly, I'm going to go through and see if there's any questions that I can answer for anybody. If you have a question about anything I've said so far and you haven't asked that question, shame on you. Go ahead and put it in the chat, and I will see what I can do to answer the question. But I'm going to go through the chat right now really quick, through the chat line, and see where we are and who said what and who's where and all that kind of stuff. And then as I go through, there might be some questions. Okay, Joe found the invitation on LinkedIn. They're good. Thank you very much, Scott. Thanks, Marvin, for racquetball, blah, 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 blah. We met at racquetball. Got you. Nancy, very cool. 5 elements. Thank you very much. John Wilhelm. Hi, Marvin. Thank you, John. It's good to see you. John also mentioned your hook. And I don't know if there was a question there or a statement. I don't know what you're trying to communicate, John, but thank you for the engagement. I really appreciate it. And Nancy says, I always thought it had to be a story of my true experience. Thanks a bunch. Yes. No. Think about that, Nancy. Think about the stories you've seen, the movies you've seen, the stage presentations you've seen. These are fictional episodes sometimes, right? Or most of the time, even if they're true episodes, they're actually dramatized, right? So part of the experience is false. And so, and I'm not saying that, that definitely don't lie, so if the story is somebody else's, say it's somebody else's story. Just go ahead and disclose it. You know what? Dentists like me or somebody like me, people like me have said this works all the time. And let me give you a story to help you understand it. It doesn't really matter that it's not you who've had the experience. Most importantly, and then we're only talking about right now character development. Later on, we'll get into the drama and all the stuff that we're going to. But it's important that you understand that yes, it doesn't have to be the exact story or your exact experience. In fact, you want to protect your clients by changing up the names, the details that are really irrelevant to the story, because sometimes they were a horrible client and you want, maybe you chop it up. Maybe you got a piece from this client, a piece from that client, a piece from that client, a piece from somebody you don't even know yet, and then you put it all together in a story. But you make sure people understand that this is a representation of what I do and how I can do and how I can help you, not what I've done, right? And yeah, you're getting ahead of me, Nancy. I'm gonna tell them about the hero during the hero section, but that's really, really important, because you don't have to be the hero in the story. You're just the teller. You're the teller of the story. And you know what, Joe? That's a great question. No, TED Talks don't work that way, but they are. There's a lot of elements from TED that do work that way. And that's what makes them so good. You're right about that. The 5 elements are different than a TED Talk, because in the TED Talk, you wouldn't tell people what to do with this information. You would just display the information. You just give it out there. You shock them. You tell them what it is. You stop right where I would pick up where vision is, and you wouldn't tell them who you are, necessarily what you're doing. You would let somebody introduce you to do that part at the end that I'm suggesting that you do, right? So that's where it's different from a TED Talk. But yes, you can follow the first 3 elements, absolutely TED Talk. But the last 2, that's really when the personal introduction is being done, or a presentation, a sales presentation is being done, or something that's doing when you want to influence somebody to do something specific. A specific behavior to happen as a result. You want to use the 5 elements. Hopefully that makes better sense. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, comments for anybody out there? I don't see any. So I'm going to talk to you about something very, very special now that I think you guys are really, really going to love. On October 31st, I'm trying to figure out how you can leverage this training I'm going to give you for the next few weeks. On October 31st, I'm doing a massive conference, a virtual conference for small women-owned and minority-owned entrepreneurs and business leaders to come together to start to figure out who in the DMV, in the Washington metropolitan area, they could leverage and create stronger relationships with in order to maximize their effectiveness, their efficiency, and to get done the things they want to get done in their life and in their business. So the title of the conference is Leverage Up. So everybody who's coming to the conference is going to be experiencing 6 to 7 entrepreneurs and business leaders at minimum, who are going to be teaching them how to leverage something, time, talent, or treasure. For those of you who saw the graphic that I produced a couple of weeks ago, and I know it was, my economics geek came out a little bit because I want people to understand that leverage is something that's amazing and can be used in a multiple different manner of ways, but essentially it's the same. It creates and generates more power. And if you have the right people in place, the right systems in place, the right strategies in place, the right connections and relationships, then you're going to generate more power. And that power can be leveraged to create more energy and more power. And it's a spiral that continues to go up and up and up and up as you grow, as you become more resilient, as you become stronger, as you become better as a person. And it starts with your talent, and it starts with your relationships. And learning how to maximize the benefit and the uses of those things, the talent of others, the relationships that you build, the skills that other people have that you don't have, all those things gives you more confidence, gives you more capability, give you more competence in everything you want to do. And so that's what this conference is going to be about. It's going to be about, and I think its time has come. I'm tired of going to conferences and seeing conferences put together where people are just bored, and there's a whole bunch of rah presentation, and no one has anything really of substance to offer except a book or a tape or some workshop or whatever that is. But that has nothing to do with what they need right now to move the needle right now. So I'm going to put in front of the entrepreneurs in this conference 6 to 7 of the most powerful, impactful speakers that also have something to offer outside of just, I gave you a great presentation, say yay, clap for me, and then walk off the stage. And so the beneficiary of this event is going to be the Community Business Partnership. This is a business organization that exists, a nonprofit organization that exists just to help small businesses get a leg up. And of course, like every other nonprofit of its type, they're suffering from funding opportunities. So I want to do this conference as a fundraiser for them, but I also want to do it as a connective tissue for the people who come to the conference and experience it. It's an all-day thing, and it's going to be, oh my God, so much fun. But nobody's gonna have to leave their home. Everything's gonna be done virtually. We're gonna have chat rooms. We're gonna have private breakout sessions. We're gonna have TED Talk style presentations for 20 minutes for each of the presenters, each of the sponsors, or whoever. If I think that I'm not putting anybody in front of them of this audience that is not really, really good, really, really exciting. In fact, I will train them myself if I need to make sure that they can deliver the goods, but who has also something of meaningful substance to offer. There's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars of prizes and giveaways. And I was thinking about this for just you guys. I'm going to announce it here first. You tell me what you think about this. For each of you who registers for the conference, what I want to do is allow you to give your elevator speech. If you register early, I want you to record your elevator speech, or I hate elevator speeches, your personal introduction, the way I'm just going to show you how to do it over the next 5 weeks. And I want to have a contest. I'm going to say the best 100 submissions that I get of video submissions, I'm going to take it, give it to the committee, boil it down to 10 or 20 personal presentations that we will continue to play throughout the day on a loop. So everybody can go back and see these powerful presentations. And when we're on breaks, we can see these powerful presentations. When we're doing something, that's outside of the main stage, you can look at these presentations, and we'll just have them available, have them playing. And everybody who is a winner can get their name and their brand in front of all the conference attendees. And one person we're going to select to be the last speaker of the day. And they're going to be able to share their offering, their thoughts, their ideas, whatever it is, with the whole entire audience. But we won't announce it until that day. And by the way, the top 20 winners, we're going to invite them to the VIP dinner. We're going to be doing something very, very special for all the presenters and all that kind of stuff, so they can get to know the presenters personally, face to face. We're going to do a COVID-19, safe ceremony kind of thing, but it'll be a VIP event. It'll be outdoor. It'll be something where there's wine and cheese and all kinds of fun food and all that kind of stuff. But you'll get a chance to meet all of the presenters and sponsors for the conference. Does any of that sound exciting or interesting to you guys? I just want to know. If it does, just say, I'm excited, or I like it, or whatever. Just give me some ideas in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm going to see if I can't even find it myself. Where did I put the event registration thing for this thing? And there it is. Okay. And if you want to participate in that video contest that I'm going to add, this is something I just thought of this afternoon. So I want you to know that I haven't fleshed it all out yet. But if you want to participate in that video contest, you've got to buy a ticket. And in order for you to buy a ticket, you've got to follow this link. And I'm going to put it in right now. This is the part of the fun that I was trying to tell my friend Jasmine that I'm going to be doing at the conference, because I thought of it when I thought of her. And somewhere between her and I, one of us is going to be running this entire process. And hopefully it's not me, but I'll talk to Jasmine about that later on. But if you want to participate in the video conference, if you want to participate in the video contest, in the personal introduction video contest, I don't even know what to call it yet. The wow video, the wow factor, I'll probably be something like that. Then you need to buy a ticket. And if you buy a ticket, go ahead and do that. I just posted the links everywhere for you to get to. Go ahead and buy a ticket now, and I'll announce it that you're going to be one of the people that are going to be in the contest. And I'd love to see you there. If you have any questions about anything, any questions about the conference, and in fact, let me just tell you about the conference, a little bit more about the conference. This conference, I already told you, is going to be basically for small business and entrepreneurs and business leaders to come together and just listen to just a tremendous like TED Talk type of style presenters. What's different about other organizations or presentations like this, you're going to have a chance to like sit down with these people. You're going to have a chance to go into private conference rooms with these people. Whoever you meet, however the speaker is, you're going to be interacting with them directly, and they're going to interact with you. They're going to be giving you tons of gifts and prizes. Each one of them is going to bring at least $5,000 to $10,000 worth of gifts or prizes to be given, not something that you about to buy or anything. This is just a giveaway kind of thing. And so we're also going to have a silent auction where you can chance to, if there's something that you see that you want to buy, you want to purchase, you want to get involved with, you can do that at a very deeply discounted price. So it's going to be awesome. I've got certain speakers already on the hook. One of my favorites is Shirley Liu. She's literally going to be teaching you how to leverage your insurance. So anything you have in terms of life insurance and you want to figure out how to get what you want out of it like now so that you can buy whatever you need to buy for your business, whether that's, a new product, a new service, a new program that's going to help you be more effective, more efficient. You can do that through the value of your life insurance. And I'm not talking about just the cash value. I'm talking about the face value of your life insurance. You can tap into that. Shirley's going to tell you how to do that. She's going to tell you how to tap into that value and bring more leverage to your life and your business in this way. Only banks do this right now. I've got a couple other speakers lined up, but I haven't listed them in the on the thing yet. But I got a speaker coming in who's going to be talking about how to leverage technology faster, better. So how do you get all these videos and things like that we're using, everything we're using right now? We're going to be talking about that. I got another speaker who's coming in who's talking about how to leverage broadband. I mean, literally how to get as much services, out of the services you're already using, and how to upgrade and get even additional services that you can get anywhere else. And they're going to talk about how do you leverage that technology, the new stuff. 5G and all that kind of stuff, and they own their own technology hub, so they're able to actually give away access to a lot of stuff that you really can't get to without spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we got another speaker come and talk about that, and we're just collecting new speakers. Speaking of, if there is somebody who you think can deliver the goods, who you think has something to offer to small minority and small women-owned and minority business owners, as much time as I say that, it's always a tongue twister for me. If you know somebody who can deliver the goods, I'm looking for a couple more speakers to fill in the gaps. If there's somebody else that you know of that you think might be good, definitely put this information in front of them and definitely have them either instant message me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and I will respond. I will get back to them. There's a lot of people who want this, who I don't think are qualified, so I'm not going to put them in front of anybody because I'll test them out ahead of time. But if you got the goods, if you're willing to help somebody, leverage it, definitely let me know. And again, if you want to participate in the special video conference, and you want to make sure people know who you are, what you're all about, and what you have to deliver, you want to go ahead and buy a ticket, and we're going to do that right away. Because that's gonna mean after I get my first 100 registrants, then the ticket price is gonna go through the roof, and I basically gonna make it difficult for people to get to it. And so if you bought a ticket, if anybody buy a ticket right now, if you have, go ahead and shoot me a note that says you in. That way I'll know. And if not, don't worry about it. This is gonna be recorded. You can get to it for a couple of days. Sometime next week though, I'm gonna make the big announcement that the video conference is gonna be. Or the video contest is going to be working, and this is how we're going to do it, and so on and so forth. And if I got room, I got room. If I don't got room, I don't got room. And I want to make sure that everybody who needs to get in front of this conference can do so in a meaningful, powerful way. Other than that, any questions I can answer for you guys, or anything at all? Because if I don't have any questions, then I'm going to log off. Any questions about the conference? Any questions about, oh, by the way, there's a ton of documents and things like that in the earlier chat that you can get to. If you haven't joined me on LinkedIn already, definitely do that. If you haven't downloaded the files that I put in the chat earlier, go ahead and do that as well, because once we end the broadcast, I can't promise you that they'll stay there. I'm not sure how that works. So other than that, I've given tons of free stuff away. I've talked about the conference. I've answered all the questions, and I think I am done. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. Let's see if I can find some music to play you guys out. Nah, I'll do that later. I'll do that some other time. I've already got too much going on today. Love you guys. Thanks for coming out. This was a great program. And by the way, you can watch the replay of this on YouTube or on Facebook. It takes about 15-20 minutes after the broadcast is over for them to get those up, but I will also be redistributing them and republishing them so that people can see them. So again, if you haven't bought your ticket, you want to go ahead and buy your ticket to the October 31st event, because that's when this is the early bird time. And I don't have all the speakers and everything in there yet, but it's going to be a full day of tremendous information and tremendous fun, and you'll love it. So anyway, Scott said Biden is going to win. I don't know what that has anything to do with anything, Scott, but I do appreciate your engagement and your humor. We'll talk to you later, buddy. Bye now. How do I get out of this thing? There we go. End the broadcast.